Amy Coney Barrett is still undergoing her Senate confirmation, and she refuses to answer any questions, which is definitely problematic when she gets asked questions that should be considered layups. For instance, when it comes to electoral issues or the possibility of Donald Trump, really flexing his muscle and attempting to turn this country into a full-blown dictatorship, she seems to be open to some of the maneuvers that he has floated. So for instance, when it comes to the possibility of Donald Trump delaying an election, something that Trump again has considered in the past, Coney gave a concerning answer.
President Trump made claims of voter fraud and suggested he wanted to delay the upcoming election. Does the Constitution give the President of the United States the authority to unilaterally delay a general election under any circumstances? Does federal law?
Well, Senator, if that question ever came before me, I would need to hear arguments from the litigants and read briefs and consult with my law clerks and talk to my colleagues and go through the opinion writing process. So, if I give off the cuff answers, then I would be basically a legal pundit. And I don't think we want judges to be legal pundits. I think we want judges to approach cases thoughtfully and with an open mind.
Yeah, except, people like Amy Coney Barrett consider themselves constitutionalists who take the Constitution and interpret it verbatim, literally. So let's take a look at what Article 2, Section 1 of the United States Constitution says about the possibility of delaying a presidential election. The Congress, not the executive branch, the Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. So long story short, Congress gets to make that decision, not the incumbent president. John.
Yeah, it's clear. And the only thing clearer than that is that she will answer questions very forthrightly and very quickly and perfectly happily about things that don't reveal that she is nothing but a right-wing ideologue who's being put into the Supreme Court to take away your health care and take away your right to practice your reproductive freedoms. And if necessary, give the election to Donald Trump. That's what she's there for. Those are the things that she's sort of cloaking. There's a side of not accepting the science on climate change, of course, as well. But mostly it's that she doesn't want to reveal that all the things that the left and even the center fear she'll do on the Supreme Court. She totally is being chosen for that. The right doesn't need to ask detailed questions because they already know that. That's why she was chosen. On the election related stuff, Trump wouldn't have nominated her if he asked her, hey, if I bring a case to you asking you to shut down the mail-in ballots, are you gonna do that? And she'd say, well, no, that would be unethical. I'm certainly not gonna shut that down. Yeah, he still would have nominated her, totally. He has no interest of his own at heart. No, all of that is so clear. And I don't know if maybe that's why in your intro you said that this is so boring. But yeah, kind of.
Because it's
I know who she is.
It's the same, situation with a Supreme Court nominee evading the questions, answering specific questions regarding constitutionality by just discussing what she would do procedurally. Yeah, we know how the Supreme Court works. Okay, we're asking for you to weigh in on what the Constitution says about the president unilaterally delaying the election. This is not difficult. But of course she's gonna evade the question, as she does in the next video we show you when it comes to Donald Trump and the possibility of refusing a peaceful transition of power.
Should a president commit themselves, like our founding fathers, I think, have a clear intention, like the grace that George Washington showed, to the peaceful transfer of power? Is that something that presidents should be able to do?
Well, one of the beauties of America from the beginning of the Republic is that we have had peaceful transfers of power, and that disappointed voters have accepted the new leaders that come into office. And that's not true in every country. And I think it is part of the genius of our Constitution and the good faith and goodwill of the American people that we haven't had the situations that have arisen in so many other countries where there have been, where those issues have been present.
Oh, good.
Yeah, congratulations. A president, hinting that he will not have a peaceful transition of power is unprecedented. Congratulations, you realize that. Now, why don't you answer the question?
No.
What was that? Like, I don't need a history lesson. I don't need a comparative analysis between the United States and some other country. I need to know what your thoughts are on an incumbent president losing the general election and refusing a peaceful transition of power. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, we're not gonna get it. I mean, the whole thing, it just feels so pointless at this point. Apparently it can't be stopped. We knew before the first hearing why she'd been chosen, and more importantly, we knew everything we needed to know about her ethics. The fact that she was willing to be a party to this process. 3.5 weeks before the election, after so many people have already voted, the fact that she was willing to stand for a spot on the SCOTUS under that told us what we need to know about her ethics. She will do whatever she needs to do to get that position. She's obviously made promises and she's ready to make good on them.
And just going back to the Constitution, which she claims to value, what does the Constitution say about the transition of power? Well, the terms of the president and the vice president shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. That is what the US Constitution says. It's the 20th Amendment. Now, when it comes to Title III, Section 1, Chapter 1 of the US Code, here's what it says about peaceful transition of power. The electors of president and vice president shall be appointed in each state on the Tuesday next after the first Monday in November in every 4th year succeeding every election of a president and vice president. So it's a very wordy way of saying, hey, the person who loses needs to do this, and the person who wins needs to do that. And let's go ahead and follow through on what our so-called democracy requires us to do when someone loses an election. But she evades that question, and she evades it by either talking about procedural things, as she did in the previous video we showed you, or giving us a history lesson, mentioning how unprecedented this is in her own cute little way. It's pathetic. One more video for you. This was the exchange that she had with Amy Klobuchar on voter intimidation.
Judge Barrett, under federal law, is it illegal to intimidate voters at the polls?
Senator Klobuchar, I can't characterize the facts in a hypothetical situation, and I can't apply the law to a hypothetical set of facts. I can only decide cases as they come to me, litigated by parties on a full record after fully engaging precedent, talking to colleagues, writing an opinion. And so I can't answer questions like that.
Okay, well, I'll make it easier. 18 USC 594 outlaws anyone who intimidates, threatens, coerces, or attempts to intimidate, threaten, or coerce any other person for the purpose of interfering with the right of such other person to vote. This is a law that has been on the books for decades.
Following that, Senator Klobuchar threw a stapler at her. I'm just kidding, she didn't do that. No, but I mean, she did a great job with that line of questioning. She provided evidence for why it's considered illegal. And all Amy Coney Barrett had to do there was say, voter intimidation at the polls is illegal. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, that's all she had to say, but she wouldn't say it.
Yeah, because well, we could go on for a long time, obviously, and we probably will have to in future days, but yeah, no, it's pretty clear what we think.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.